If you observe what really motivates human actions, particularly in men, it always boils down to one thing: emotion. Not strategy, not reason, emotion. You can instruct a man on what to do, you can indicate to him what is right, you can even attempt to entice him with logic, but if you fail to touch his heart, he will not move mountains for you. He may conform, he may act, but he won't commit. The reality is, men don't risk it all for the perfect woman. They risk it all for the woman who makes them feel something true. You see, in a world where men are conditioned to be tough, to keep it together, to never be weak, what they really desire is a space where they can let go, a space where they don't need to perform, where they can just be. When a man encounters a person who grants him that space, a person who looks beyond his mask, beyond his roles, beyond his armor, something gets realigned inside of him. He feels alive once more. He feels connected. And for that level of connection, he'll risk pride, comfort, even fear. It's not saying the things or the words. It's the energy you carry when you're around him. It's about being present. It's about listening, actually listening, not to respond, but to hear him when he is describing his struggles. Don't jump to solve them. Just sit in that space, look him straight in the eye, and make him feel that you understand, that he is not alone in that instant. That instant act of emotional presence is invincible. It's what causes a man to open up. It's what makes him trust. And trust is the substratum of whatever endures. Men are attracted to the woman who brings out their best, not through coercion, but through shared connections. You see, when a man feels safe emotionally, he begins to share with you his dreams, his fears, his doubts, and that's holy ground. Most people never get to see that about him, but if you do, and you're gentle with it, he'll want to guard that connection with every fiber of his being, because for him, that connection is home. Now, this isn't about losing yourself or compromising in order to accommodate someone else's comfort. Actually, just the reverse. The most powerful emotional relationships arise when both individuals are real, when you come as you are without having to impress, manipulate, or perform. Can pick up instantly on whether or not a woman is real when your energy expresses, I accept you, but also I respect myself. It generates respect and attraction on a completely different level. It has nothing to do with being perfect. It has everything to do with being authentic. And here's the lovely thing: when a man feels emotionally connected, he's not driven by duty, he's driven by devotion. He wants to give, he wants to add, he wants to defend what feels significant. That's when you witness him go all out, when he'll risk, confront fear, go beyond what's possible, not because he must, but because he can't envision doing otherwise. That's the magic of emotional connection. It transforms "I'll try" into "I'll do whatever it takes." At the end of it all, we all desire the same: to be heard, to be appreciated not for what you do, but for who you are. And if you give that to a man, if you actually see him, it flips the whole thing around. He's not fighting the world by himself anymore. He's not merely getting by, he's living, because now he has something greater than himself to live for. So if you wish to unseal the heart of a man, don't pursue him, don't challenge him, don't try to dominate him. Connect with him, empathize with him, let him know that you can see the man he is attempting to be. When you do this, you won't have to ask him to risk everything for you. He'll already be doing it, not because he's obligated, but because his heart tells him you're worth it. And in that space of emotional truth, that's where love stops being a feeling and becomes a force. Respect is the fuel of a man's soul. It's not just something nice to have, it's the core of how he experiences love. You notice where women tend to need love in order to feel safe, men tend to need respect in order to feel loved. That's not ego, that's wiring. That's the way men gauge their value in this world. They live to feel competent, trusted, and valued for what they do. And when they get that from someone they love, it turns them on in a way that nothing else can. When you respect a man, you're saying to him, I value the man you are, not merely what you produce. And that sort of affirmation is unusual. In the world out there, men are being evaluated constantly on their performance, job title, paycheck, achievement status. They're pushed to justify themselves every day. But when he arrives home, when he's with a person who believes in him, who doesn't judge him based on his win or loss, but his heart and his effort, he finds peace. That peace is his power. That is when he becomes unstoppable, because he is no longer playing to be approved of. He's learning from inspiration. Respect is not agreeing with all that he says or doing all things his way. Tone the energy and the intent with which you talk to him. It's the way you react when he is trying, even when he fails. It's to notice his effort rather than his failure. It's to tell him, I believe in you, When he doesn't believe in himself, when you honor him in those moments, particularly when he is failing, it resonates deeper than a compliment ever could because it tells him you trust the man beneath the surface. And believe me, a man who feels respected will do anything to maintain it. He'll guard it. He'll cultivate it. He'll build with you, not out of compulsion, but because he wants to become the vision you see for him. Respect brings out the best of him. It unleashes his leadership, his protectiveness, his generosity, not because he must, because he is proud and loyal. Now, here's the catch: disrespect in small quantities does the opposite. Sarcasm, criticism, comparison, things cut deep. They hurt more than his ego. When a man feels repeatedly disrespected, he doesn't typically fight back. He closes up. He emotionally retreats. He ceases to try. Not because he does not care, because he thinks he has already failed where it counted most. That is why so many relationships end not from a deficiency in love, but from a deficiency in respect. Respect is also mutual. When you offer it sincerely, it returns to you in abundance. A man who is respected does not assume it. He cherishes it. He respects it. He begins to treat you with even greater caution, greater sensitivity, greater love, because he feels noticed, not for who he might become, but for who he is. That is when he begins to lead with integrity, to speak with honesty, and to commit with depth. So if you'd like to call out the best in a man, respect the man he is as well as the man he's becoming. Inspire his direction, not his destination. Tell him of his strength when he's lost sight of it. And above all, never overlook the influence of something as simple as, "I'm proud of you," because those 4 words can propel him longer than any reward outside of him ever could. When a man feels respected, he's not merely motivated, he's alive, he's driven, he's rooted. And when that sort of man loves you, he doesn't do it halfway. He invests, he takes risks, makes sacrifices, shows up, not because he's seeking approval, because he's inspired by the one thing every man deeply desires: to be respected by the woman he loves. Point 3, ChatGPT is not perfect. Verify significant information. You can't change a man by controlling and pressuring him or constantly correcting him, but you can utterly change him by inspiring him. Every human being resists control, yet we all yield to being believed in. Men, particularly, do not do well when they are told what to do. They do well when they are reminded of what they are and what they can do. The solution is not to push harder, it's to inspire deeper. When you attempt to control a man, you activate his defenses. It's human nature. He gets judged, cornered, and deprived of his independence. His natural response is resistance, not that he doesn't care, but because he feels his freedom is being stripped away, and freedom for a man is sacred. It's connected to his identity of purpose. But when you motivate him, when you have faith in his capacity to lead, to develop, to grow, he doesn't feel trapped, he feels summoned. He doesn't rebel, he rises. Think about it. No one ever grew by being put down to greatness. They grow when they're challenged into it, when someone sees them and says, "I see something more in you." That's what sets a fire in a man. It's not lecturing, it's not nagging, it's not ultimatums, it's faith, it's trust. When you cease trying to correct him and begin showing him that you have faith in his leadership, you change the whole dynamic. You shift from being a critic to being a catalyst. Inspiration occurs when your energy whispers, "I believe in you," even when you doubt yourself. It's when you think less about what he's not doing yet and more about what he might become. When he believes that, it calls to something deep within him, that ancient urge to ascend, to earn, to prosper, not because he must, but because he wishes to be worthy of believing. That's what makes manipulation and motivation different. One drains energy, the other energizes it. Now, inspiring does not equal avoiding mistakes or speaking up when something is not right. It equals speaking from a position of partnership, not superiority, rather than, "Why can't you ever?" It is, "I know you've got it in you," rather than criticism. It's encouragement coupled with accountability. You're still honest, but your honesty constructs rather than demolishes. You challenge him not to show himself to you, but to live up to the potential you already perceive. Tony Robbins is known to say, "We all have 2 forces that shape our lives: pain and pleasure." The trick is to associate pleasure with growth. When you inspire rather than control, that's precisely what you do. You make progress feel empowering rather than punishing. You make effort feel noticed rather than judged. You make him associate the process of becoming better with the feeling of being valued. And that's when transformation truly starts. The fact of the matter is that a man who is inspired isn't going to change for you. He's going to change because of who he is becoming. And the only kind of change that will endure When motivation originates internally, it's not going away. He's no longer changing because he's afraid of losing you. He's changing because he's proud to be more for both of you. And that right there is where relationships move out of survival and into synergy. So don't try to pressure growth, ignite it. Talk to the greatness in him, not the imperfections. Praise his effort, not necessarily his results. Make your presence a reminder of his potential, not his deficits. Because when a man is inspired by your belief in him, he'll reach higher than he ever would from pressure. He'll risk comfort, pride, even failure, not to prove something to you, but to honor the belief you've placed in him. That's not control, that's partnership. That's love that elevates rather than confines. The world challenges men every single day. Out there, they're expected to be strong, composed, unshakable, no fear, no hesitation, no cracks in the armor. But what everybody doesn't know is that even the strongest man tires. Even the most arrogant one needs a place where he can breathe. That's why, if you want to see a man give you his loyalty, his heart, his all, become his safe place, not his battlefield. When a man enters a relationship, he's not looking for another playing field to prove himself on. He already does that daily at the office, in life, in his own head. What he's hungry for, frequently without even knowing it himself, peace, emotional peace, the kind that whispers, you don't have to struggle here, you can simply be. When a man experiences that with you, everything alters, his guard comes down, vulnerability emerges, and in that place you meet the actual him, not the performer, not the protector, but the individual. But the truth is this: most men don't feel safe enough to be vulnerable because each time they have, it has been used against them. Perhaps they opened up and were told they were weak. Perhaps they made one mistake and were judged rather than supported. Now they wear their silence as armor, and the more a woman insists on emotional openness with no emotional safety, the more he withdraws. It's not that he doesn't the wish to connect, it's that he doesn't feel safe enough to. Being a man safe haven doesn't equate with tolerating everything and never communicating your needs. It equates with communicating in such a way that heals rather than wounds. It equates with choosing understanding over accusation. When he's distant, rather than hitting with, you don't care about me, use, I miss you, I feel disconnected from you. That adjustment from blame to vulnerability makes all the difference. It opens the door instead of closing it. And when he does open up, when he finally shares something raw, something he doesn't show the world, that's sacred. That's trust in action. Don't rush to fix it. Don't dismiss it. Just listen. Hold that space. Because in that moment, you're not just hearing him, you're healing him. You're showing him that it's safe to be imperfect, to struggle, to be human. That's what men remember. That's what makes them stay. A man will risk everything for the woman who provides him with that peace. Because peace to him is worth more than everything else. When he feels he can approach you without judgment, when he feels accepted amidst his chaos, he'll begin constructing a universe around guarding that emotion. That's when loyalty becomes instinctive. That's when love becomes unbreakable. Here's the equilibrium. Being his sanctuary doesn't have to come at the expense of your own core. You can't be his peace if you're in chaos yourself. You need to center yourself first. The most potent form of peace that you can offer a person is one that comes from holding it inside yourself. When you bring stability, compassion, and emotional resilience, you're not simply soothing him, you're empowering him to be that same stability for you. So don't be his battlefield. The world gives him enough of those. Be the calm after the storm. Be the one who helps him exhale, because when a man feels that kind of peace, when he knows that your presence is his refuge, not his fight, he won't just love you. He'll protect that bond like his life depends on it. He'll battle the world on your behalf. He'll never desire to battle you. And that's when love turns into something much more than lust. It becomes home. Any man desires to sense that his endeavors count. What he's working on, even if it's minimal, even if it's not perfect, is visible. You see, men are biologically programmed to give, to create, to accomplish. But what makes that drive happen isn't continuous success, it's appreciation. If you see a man's effort rather than his outcomes, you stir something great in him. You make him feel appreciated not for what he produces, but for who he's becoming through it. So many relationships fail because appreciation only arrives after perfection. We win the wars but lose the battles, and yet it's there that the true courage exists, in the attempting, in the showing up, in those times when it would be simpler to give up. When you see those times, when you say, I see how much you're trying, You provide him with fuel that no matter what reward comes from the outside world cannot compare, because it informs him that his process counts, that his progress is being seen. Consider this in life: nobody does everything perfectly. Everybody makes mistakes, but what keeps individuals going is knowing that their effort is for something. Men are no exception. They don't require perfection, but purpose. When a man believes that his effort goes for naught, he will eventually give up, not because he is not concerned, but because it hurts to continue giving when no one appears to notice. But when even the slightest of his efforts is returned with appreciation, he is able to muster the energy to continue. Complementing effort is not about flattery, it's about emotional intelligence. It's realizing that individuals thrive in atmospheres where they're valued, not belittled. So when a man steps up, when he attempts to repair something, when he charges through his fear, even if it doesn't turn out exactly right, observe. Say, I value what you did. You'll be surprised at how that one small validation can change his whole energy. He'll want to try harder, not because he feels he should, because it feels good to give to you. Here's the secret: effort recognition creates trust. When he knows that he doesn't have to do everything perfectly in order to be appreciated, he feels safe being himself. He won't cover up his mistakes, he'll learn from them. He won't fake being together. He'll invite you into his journey. That's when relationships get deep, when both individuals can learn without fear of judgment. And that goes across the board: emotional, financial, physical, spiritual. Perhaps he's attempting to be more emotionally available. Perhaps he's putting in more hours to become stable. Perhaps he's becoming more efficient at communicating. Rather than dwelling on where he still falls short, think about how far he's progressed. The phrase, I notice how much effort you're putting in, is far more powerful than you still don't do this right. One opens the heart, the other closes it. This is not about reducing your standards or overlooking what can be improved. This is about leading with appreciation prior to correction. A man who feels appreciated and recognized is much more receptive to growth and constructive criticism. But if he feels incessantly criticized, he'll identify the relationship with failure, not motivation. Tony Robbins has a saying: where focus goes, energy flows. If you put your attention on his effort expands. If you put all your attention on his fall, his confidence dwindles. And it goes both ways. The more you acknowledge, the more he produces. The more he produces, the more aligned you two are. Keep this in mind: men don't only want to be admired when they've already won, they need to be acknowledged when they're trying. That's when they are most open. That's when they are risking their heart. Acknowledge that, and he will begin to show up for you in ways he surprises even himself. Because when a man knows his work is important to you, he will no longer hold back. He will strive harder, love more, and give more, not because he is seeking approval, but because he is motivated by thankfulness. And that's how effort turns into devotion. True feminine energy doesn't demand, it invites. It doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't need to control a man to gain his devotion. It draws it out naturally through warmth, softness, and authenticity. This isn't about playing weak or pretending to be something you're not. It's about understanding the incredible magnetic power that lies in grace, presence, and emotional depth. Men are hardwired to react to energy, not words. When your energy is tense, controlling, or critical, it will produce resistance. When your energy is open, relaxed, and centered, produces safety, and safety is what draws a man in. When a woman is being her feminine self, not proving, not competing, simply being, she becomes irresistible in the most basic sense of the word. Her presence communicates to him: you can let down your guard here, you can breathe here. That's what causes him to desire, to give, to defend, to serve, not out of obligation, but because something inside of him wants to. What is this feminine energy we're talking about? It's not just being gentle or emotional, it's being connected. Connected, it's living from the heart, not the fear. It's expressing emotion without losing control. It's finding strength in softness and confidence in surrender. And surrender isn't about submission, it's about trust. It's saying, I trust myself enough to not force outcomes. I trust life enough to let things be. That trust is attractive. It enables men to move into their masculine energy, to lead, to act, provide, because they sense there's space for them to do so. If a woman is in her authentic feminine flow, she won't need to compete with a man's strength. She will complement it. And that's what develops polarity, that spark, that chemistry that all deep connections require. Polarity is what makes a man want to be a man and a woman in the presence of the other. When both energies are mutually balanced, attraction is easy. But when both are attempting to lead, attempt to control, attempt to dominate, connection becomes a power struggle rather than a partnership. Now, this is not about being quiet about your needs or biting your tongue to maintain peace. Hana's feminine energy communicates, but with intention, not with aggression. It states, here's how I feel, here's what I require, without guilt or expectation. It's compassionate communication, not confrontational communication. That dissolves resistance. That invites a man to want to hear. When he hears that softness, it doesn't make him weaker, it gets him open. Tony Robbins likes to say, the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships, and the quality of your relationships is the quality of your emotional communication. Feminine energy is emotional intelligence in action. It's the sensitivity to read the moment, to know when to lead with compassion, when to provide space, when to nourish, and when to inspire. It's what makes conversations become connection and tension become intimacy. And here's the gorgeous part. When you lead with that level of energy, you don't only attract love, you raise it. You encourage a man to step into his better self without ever having to instruct him to. He begins giving more generously, listening more intently, showing up more regularly, not from pressure, from sheer instinct. Because nothing makes a man feel more manly than being in the presence of a woman who is confidently womanly. So keep this in mind. You don't need to push love. You don't need to prove yourself. The more you return to your spontaneous state of receptivity, the more life and love responds to you. When you lean into your feminine energy, when your vibe is, I'm okay with who I am and I trust what's for me, men sense it. And when they sense it, they'll do whatever it takes to be close to it. Because in a noisy world, that sort of calm, earthy energy is scarce. And to a man who has spent his entire life battling wars, it's like going home. Every man requires a purpose. It's not something he wants, it's something he is. Purpose is the pulse of masculinity. It's the source of a man's direction, meaning, and motivation. Without it, he's lost, restless, even frustrated. You can tell by looking into his eyes when he's severed from it, that still tension, that feeling of drifting. But a man knows his purpose, or when he's cared for in it, he's unstoppable. His power shifts, his confidence level increases, his love becomes deeper. He becomes a man on fire, not merely living, living. Tony Robbins likes to say that progress equals happiness. For a man, progress in his mission is oxygen to his soul. It's not about status or money, it's about meaning. It's about feeling that what he does matters, regardless of his mission, to create a business, to serve others, to defend his family, to leave a legacy. He must have the sense that his life is in motion towards some end that satisfies him. And the woman who gets and celebrates that, who supports it instead of competing with it, becomes an invaluable component of his journey. When you stand behind a man's mission, you're not standing behind him, you're standing alongside him. You're indicating, I see where you're headed and I believe in what you're becoming. That is rocket fuel. Encourages him when he feels uncertain. It reminds him that he's not climbing alone. You don't need to push him. Your faith alone can re-spark his ambition. Because when a man believes that somebody really believes in his dream, he'll go through fire to make it happen. Now, I'm not saying you should disappear into his cause or make his vision greater than your own. A good relationship is one where both individuals have purpose, where both support the other's development. The idea is harmony, not dominance. Your mission doesn't conflict with his, it enhances it. It's two energies going in the same direction, not against each other. That's where genuine partnership starts, where both individuals add significance to each other's lives without attempting to dictate the course of each other's lives. But here's the reality. If a man hasn't yet discovered his purpose, he may appear preoccupied, inconsistent, or emotionally unavailable. It's not because he doesn't care. It's because he's lost his foundation. You can't have a solid relationship with someone who has no idea where they're going. So rather than attempting to be his purpose, nudge him to discover it. Let him have the space to find it. Encourage him to relearn it, because when he does, he'll return to you with a truer sense of direction and devotion. When a man is living on purpose, love is natural. He's not looking for approval from the relationship. He's adding value extras to it. He's not needy. He's satisfied. And that satisfaction overflows into all areas of life. He listens more clearly, loves more deeply, and leads more powerfully. He doesn't view love as a diversion from his mission. He views it as fuel for it. That's what happens when purpose and partnership unite. The relationship becomes unstoppable. So never think less of the strength of staying with a man of vision. Remind him of what he can do when he forgets. Commend his improvement, even the little steps. And if he gets off course, do not shame him. Remind him why he began. Because a man of purpose will overcome any challenge, take any risk, and withstand any trial for the woman who believes in him. In the end, men don't need to be saved. They need to be seen for what they can do, what they're working towards, and what they're on a mission for. When you're the voice that keeps reminding him of his why, you stir the warrior in him to life. He'll reach higher, stand taller, and battle harder, not out of obligation, because he wants to bring the vision you share into being. That's what purpose does. It aims love in a direction, gives it a meaning, a reason to last. And when a man is compelled by purpose and love alike, there is nothing he won't risk to safeguard it. Reciprocity is the pulse of every enduring relationship. Unseen beat that sustains love, the give and take, the ebb and flow of energy, work, and concern between two individuals. If that equilibrium prevails, love will flourish. If not, breeds. Because regardless of how you understanding or self-sacrificing one is, no one can pour endlessly from an empty vessel. A man will give everything he has when he senses that the exchange is reciprocated, not transactionally, but emotionally. He must sense that the effort he gives, his time, his energy, his openness, is rewarded with appreciation, affection, and effort from the other. It's not about scoring, it's about feeling as seen and as valued. When both individuals are giving, supporting, and lifting each other up, something special occurs. The relationship becomes a source of renewal, not drainage. So many breakups happen not because love has vanished, but because the energy is one-sided. One individual continues to show up, continues to try, continues to give, while the other becomes passive or entitled. Gradually, that imbalance dissolves connection. The giver feels invisible. The receiver starts expecting instead of being grateful. And before long, love becomes a chore. But when there is reciprocity, when both hearts are committed, it revives passion and partnership day after day. Reciprocity does not mean offering in equal quantities. It means offering in equally significant manners. Perhaps one partner offers emotional warmth and the other stability. Perhaps one offers vision and the other grounding. The magic is in filling in each other's strengths rather than replicating them. Love is not 50 to a 50, it is 100 to 100s. Both individuals giving fully in their own unique manner to create something bigger than themselves. Men particularly excel in giving where their giving is reciprocated with appreciation. It's not that they must be paid back, they must feel acknowledged. When a man sees that his effort is returned, when his love, protection, or commitment is answered with generosity, trust, and support, he'll give twice as much. He'll continue investing, not out of obligation, but because it feels right. Gratitude is the multiplier of effort. It makes a man want to do more, not because it is his duty, but because it is joyful. When the offering is no longer mutual, when one person continues to take and not give in return, something within the other starts to close off. The vibe shifts from inspiration to burnout. Love no longer becomes a dance, but a chase. That's when space increases, because relationships are ultimately about exchange, not of tangible things, but of feeling, effort, and energy. Tony Robbins frequently discusses the law of emotional reciprocity, that when you give in true love, the more it returns to you. But only if both parties are giving from abundance, not lack. If you're giving out of guilt or fear, it isn't love, it's sacrifice. And sacrifice without equilibrium results in burnout. True reciprocity is to give in joy and receive in grace. It's respect in motion. And so if you desire a love that endures, make it a cycle of contribution, not competition. Ask yourself, am I giving as much as I'm expecting to get? And when he gives, don't ignore it. Well, thank you, a real smile, a touch on the arm, those little pleasures nourish his soul. Men don't need perfection. They need to feel that what they're doing matters to you. And when they feel that, they'll give even more. In the end, reciprocity builds trust. It tells both people, you're not alone in this. I'm with you. That's the kind of love that endures storms, that grows stronger with time, that deepens instead of fades. Because when both individuals are giving, when both hearts are adding to the fire, it never dies. It's a source of warmth, of strength, of renewal. And that's the type of love that makes a man risk everything, not for what he receives, but for what you both build together. Expectation saps energy. Appreciation generates it. Easy. And yet, one of the largest reasons love will either flourish or perish When you move away from expecting what someone A should do and start appreciating what they choose it to do, everything shifts. The energy relaxes, connection becomes stronger, and both individuals begin giving more, not because they must, but because they have desire to. Men, particularly, are very sensitive to whether they're appreciated or expected. When they feel taken for granted, their effort dwindles naturally. It's not because of spite, it's biology and emotion in tandem. A man's spirit lives on significance. He must feel that his efforts count, that they're appreciated. When he feels that, he'll climb mountains for you. But when he feels that whatever he does is never good enough, he'll gradually drift away, not physically first, but emotionally. The thing about expectations is that they exert pressure, not passion. You can't create devotion by obligation. Second, you start feeling like love is a to-do list. You should do this. You should know that. You should have remembered it no longer feels like love and begins to feel like acting. When love is based in gratitude, thank you for doing that. I love the way that you did that. It means so much to me that you tried. It is once again a source of happiness, because appreciation not only recognizes what was done, it celebrates who they are for doing it. Tony Robbins always says, trade your expectations for appreciation, and your whole life changes in that moment. And he's correct. When you begin to look at what's a right rather than what's missing, you begin to notice how much there is to be thankful for. Gratitude makes ordinary moments emotional gold. It adds warmth back into the relationship. It reminds both parties that they're on the same team, not opposite sides of a scoreboard. This is not to say you don't have needs or standards. It is saying that those needs are more effectively fulfilled when coming from a place of thankfulness instead of anger. For instance, instead of, you never do anything with me, say, I really enjoy the times we hang out together. I have been missing that. The former closes off connection. The latter invites it. Gratitude opens the heart, but expectation closes it. When you appreciate a man, you're communicating directly to his heart. You're saying to him, I notice what you're doing, and I care about it. And that's all most men actually need to continue giving. It's not the magnitude of the act, it's the acknowledgement of it. A little thank you, a pat on the arm, smile that says, I see you. Those things energize him more than you know. Because down deep, every man wants to feel like what he contributes to your life is important. And the best part of it is appreciation builds momentum. The more you appreciate, the more he gives. The more he gives, the more you appreciate. It's a cycle of good feedback loop that deepens the relationship over time. That's how amazing relationships are created, not based on perfection, but on repeated appreciation. Conversely, ongoing criticism or failed expectations deflate attraction. A guy who believes he can't win gets out of the game, but a guy who feels valued keeps coming back, not for approval, because he's motivated to play. Gratitude turns work into pleasure and obligation into passion. So pause for a second and reflect. Are you seeing what's lacking, or are you appreciating what's present? Because where attention goes, energy flows. Attention on gratitude and love expands. Attention on expectations and it wilts. Ultimately, gratitude is not manners, it's medicine. It makes people whole, lifts them up, and gives them a boost of energy. It reminds a man why he chose you and reminds you why he's worth being chosen again and again. When love becomes a place of thanksgiving, not expectation, you'll never have to ask him to risk everything for you. He'll already be doing it happily because he knows his hard work isn't just seen, it's loved. 10. Love is not a transaction, it's transformation. At its greatest, love isn't about keeping score. It's not about what you get. It's about who you become together. Authentic love changes you. It disrupts your patterns, quiets your edges, and expands your ability to give. It's not a game of, you do this, so I'll do that. It's a dance of growth, trust, reciprocal validation. When you realize that, you stop chasing validation and begin to nurture connection. All relationships have cycles. At first, it's chemistry. It's the excitement, the jolt, the attraction. But that wanes if there's not depth. What sustains love is change. When two individuals take that chemistry and use it not only to feel good, but to become better, to become stronger and kinder through one another. That's what takes common lust to extraordinary mission. So point one, seeing love as a mirror of love is not intended to keep you comfortable at all times. It's intended to keep you aware. It shows you everything within you, your fears, your insecurities, your unhealed wounds. And rather than running from them, real love asks you to face them. When you look at love as a mirror, you quit blaming the other and start inquiring, what is this revealing about me? That adjustment is where the work starts. For men, This type of love is incredibly inspiring. When a woman looks at his potential, not at his history, and dares him to become more, not by criticism, by believing in him, it stirs something strong within him. He yearns to be the man who's deserving of that kind of love. He begins to grow, to heal, to become more, not because he's commanded to do so, but because the relationship in itself becomes a spiritual space for transmutation. So, point 20I, love established on purpose, not possession. When love is transactional, it's tenuous, it's based on conditions. I'll love you if, or I'll give when you give. But when love is transformational, it's bountiful. It gives first, it elevates, it adds value, it seeks to grow together rather than ask what it can get from it. That's the distinction between a relationship that drains and one that expands. Tony Robbins frequently states, the purpose of a relationship is not to get, but to give. And that's the secret of transformation. The more you give love, the more you become love. You no longer need constant reassurance because the act of loving becomes a source of fulfillment in and of itself. You see that every time you opt for patience over pride, understanding over judgment, kindness over control, you're changing. You're becoming the type of person who raises everyone around you up. Subpoint 3, two people, one mission. Ultimately, strongest relationships are partnerships, two people going the same way, hand in hand, pushing each other to be their best. There is no competition, no scoreboard, no game, only a common mission to grow and to give. When both partners are devoted to that sort of love, there is nothing they cannot conquer. Each struggle is an opportunity to further establish trust. Each argument is an exercise in empathy. Each triumph is a shared victory. And this is the truth: when a man believes that his relationship is making him more of who he's supposed to be, he'll never take it for granted. He'll defend it, protect it, care for it, because it's no longer love, it's purpose. So if you want a guy to risk everything for you, dreaming about what you can get out of him, and start dreaming about what you can build with him, be the woman who doesn't just love him where he is, but who inspires him to see where he can go. And let him do the same for you, because that's what real love is, not a barter of needs, but an alchemy of souls. When love is about growth, it's no longer fragile. It's no longer temporary. It's no longer circumstantial. It becomes unstoppable. It becomes sacred. And that's the kind of love that not only makes a man risk everything for you, it makes him thankful he did.